Hello and welcome to a rather windy Greenyards today. Melrose are taking on Ayr in National League Division 1. Both teams are only a win apart in the league, so they'll both be fighting hard today for the victory. Before we go to the commentary box, let's have a word with the coaches. So after a great start, you've had a little dip in form over the past couple of weeks. Your game was postponed last week. Is this going to make it tougher today?
Yeah, I think it will, Barbara. Yeah, I think, we did get a good start. Boys came at the blocks pretty well, but inevitably, they look at the top sort of 6-7 teams in the league. Everybody's capable of beating each other, and you can't be on your best form every week. So we're hoping today, we just spoke about having a reaction from the players, going out there, enjoying themselves, and hopefully get the victory, which is very much needed at the moment.
You were quite dominant in the scrums last week against Watsonians, so does the surface make a difference? Is that going to change it today?
I'd like to think so, yeah. So, yeah, we've got not a bad scrum, but I'd like to think we're more mobile than dominant in scrums. So, yeah, it'll be good to see, yeah.
And it's been 5 years. I'm sure his boots are a bit dusty, but Graham Dodds is making his return today. Are you hoping he's going to bring some experience and knowledge to the team?
He'll certainly bring a bit of weight. He's been training really well, and he's hungry for it now. We had a conversation a few weeks ago, and just kind of left it up to Graham. We've got other players that can play in these positions, but you see his experience is going to be pretty crucial for us really this month or so. So let's just hopefully he gets through even half an hour. 40 minutes would be great for us.
Good afternoon and the warmest of welcomes to the Greenyards on this wild and wet Saturday afternoon, although the sun is just peeking over the Eildon Hills and stretching onto the Greenyards turf. And we're going to be bringing you action from Melrose versus Ayr in the Tennent's National 1 League on Borders Rugby TV. Now, these two teams have been littered with history and success in Scottish club rugby, especially over the last 2 decades, but the emergence of Super 6 has put a different slant on this fixtures, and both teams will be looking to try and squeeze their way back into the top table again of Scottish club rugby from a very competitive and tight National 1. There's only 7 points that separate the top 7 places in the league before kick-off today, and the visitors are snuggled in at second place behind Heriots, and Melrose are not too far behind them in fifth and hunting down the teams above, and no better opponent for them than the men from Milbrae. So the home side, they've got a few changes from their last game, which was a defeat against local rivals Gala, and they'll hope the changes allow them to enforce themselves a little bit more on this game after what was a flat performance against the Maroons. In the backs, James Brown comes in on the wing, allowing Lewis Mallon to slot into the back row. Struan Hutchison also replaces Doug Crawford at 10 in what is a straight swap. The absence of John Cox after a nasty collision in the Gala fixture sees Ferguson move across to Loosehead, and Ben McLean is moving up to hooker from number 8. There's also a first appearance of the season for veteran Graham Dodds, who will be hoping to impose his experience on the game. The 4-time Scotland Club internationalist returns to first team action for the first time in 5 years, and at the tender age of 38, which may also point to the lack of depth in the forwards from the home side. For Ayr, there's a notable absence in the backs, with Fraser Climo missing behind the scrum, but the visitors will be hoping to use the direct running and ingenuity from Bova and McCluskey in the centres. In the forwards, Kirk, McLaren and Rees will be a handful, and the 3G pitch means that the game should remain pretty open even with these difficult conditions, so expect the Ayr back row to impose themselves in the tight battles up front, but also in the loose. And Ayr make their way onto the field and led on to the pitch by Cameron Rees, the number 8, their captain, this afternoon as they trudge out from the sheds here just beneath us at the Greenyards. Obviously difficult conditions, very, very windy. Richard Ferguson now to lead his charges onto the park, and just followed behind him by big Graham Dodds as well. Robin Purdie did mention he was adding a bit of bulk to the pack, and he means that in all the best and nicest terms possible. But it's going to be Struan Hutchison to get us underway. A right-footed kick downfield, and it's a challenge, and you can see it just getting held up in the air, but well gathered there by Cameron Rees from Ayr. The ball just dispersed out from the ruck just outside the 22 as Ayr are looking to try and get the first bit of position here this afternoon as they kick downfield. And it's got a little bit of a nudge there, but it's Graham Dodds under the ball, safe hands there from the big man, and he finds David Colvin infield, and he's just trying to run and dance his way out of trouble as he gets over the 10-metre line. And now Bruce Colvin, he finds Struan Hutchison, who's got Richard Ferguson on the shoulder for support. There was a sign that we see quite a lot from Richard Ferguson as Struan Hutchison has to kick into that wind, and sometimes it comes up on your side. It's held up quite well in the wind there for Ayr, and they kick downfield from Richie Simpson, but it's a positive start. Graham Dodds will be chuffed to bits to get his hands on the ball first and foremost.
That's right, early touch for the big man. I would have liked to have seen him trundle it back into the contact there, but he thought better of it and found David Colvin, and it's been a composed start by Melrose, and they'll be happy enough with the way it's gone thus far.
Yeah, I think it takes a bit to get the revs up from a standing start for Graham Dodds now. Obviously, it's a change of scenery. Last week he was beside me for the Selkirk game, but this week he's pulled on the cleats and he's on the field, and he'll be loving it this afternoon. And it's a good, accurate line out there from Melrose. And Struan Hutchison does find Graham Dodds, and he's wanting to make an instant impact on this game. And he's a safe pair of hands there as he brings the ball back on this side, and it spills to Struan Hutchison. Now it's going to be an opportunity for Ayr to break here, and it's Bova who's rampaging, got the loose ball, passed back in field, and it is an opening score for Kieran Wood, and a little bit of an unforced error, you'll say, in the Melrose attacking line. The ball went to Hutchison, he tried to find Colvin quite tight, bit of pressure from the Ayr defence, and they've capitalised.
They most certainly have, and it was that man Bova. That's not who you want to see the ball end up in the hands of an open play. He's a big man, and he made the most of that bulk down the touchline before finding his man on the inside, and it's a good opening for Ayr. They'll be happy with that.
Bova, and it's an excellent kick, and a cute kick there from Bova, but he adds the extras and makes it 7 points from what was a really challenging position. But in the wind, if you get the confidence up and you're kicking like that, it's going to do you the world of good. And again, a nice steady scrum there from Ayr. It's got a little bit of a resistance and a bit of pressure there from Melrose, but it is the captain, Cameron Rees, to pick up round the corner, but he's been snaffled well round the side. Good work from the Melrose back row. It looks like they've got it back on this side. Maybe a little bit of a fumble there from Graham Dodds, but at the back of the ruck there, but the referee has noticed an infringement for holding on perhaps on the ground, and it's an opportunity to try and go again here for Melrose, and an opportunity for Ben McLean to try and hit his target. Great platform to try and attack from, and especially a team like Melrose. We've seen Melrose over the last few years being able to strike from these areas, and first job's done. They've hit their target, they swarm in to them all, and they try and get a little bit of go forward, but the pink and black shirts are met with a bit of resistance, but it's going forward now, and it looks like it's got a bit of inroads there on the line. The referee has got his hand in the air. He's a bit confused as to what he's going to call it here, and he's having a little chat with the Ayr player there, and it's going to be a yellow card for an infringement at the maul. And it looked like it was going forward, it looked like it was good from where we were. Graham Dodds just trying to initiate some experience on the referee as well, but Ayr down to 14 men, and it's an opportunity gone there for Melrose on this occasion. But it's going to be Bruce Colvin to roll the ball into the scrum here, 5 metres short of the Ayr line, as Melrose look to strike back and get some points on the board. It looks like it's got a little bit of go forward here for Melrose, and Bruce Colvin's just digging in at the scrum there. Struan Hutchison just hits the runner, just coming back infield, and that's Donald Crawford just offering himself up. He's bundled over the line, and that's an opening score there for Melrose. They strike back early and they take advantage of the yellow card there for Ayr, and it was a well worked try from a forward platform from the scrum. Bring your backs in and just charge over the line from Donald Crawford.
He hit that hard, and he hit that with meaning, and he took 2 or 3 boys over the line with him.
Yeah, he is a big utility back, you would say. He can play a number of positions, but obviously he's found his place in recent games at 13, and you can see there he does run a nice hard line from that outside centre berth, especially when you bring him into the game. And it's now David Colvin, and it just sneaks over, but it's a confident kick there from the fullback. He gets his first points of the game. Bova, and the ball is stripped from him, and James Brown is now looking to try and make inroads, and he's done very well from a clustered position to get downfield, and he's doing a great power of work here. He's got players on the inside, he's not wanting to use them, he's not got the opportunity to use them because he can't get his arms loose, but that is great play from the winger from what was a congested position. But Rolly Brett now, and it goes back, referee playing on as David Colvin now finds play over on the far side. The referee's going to bring that back for offside, but James Brown is doing well from his own 22, but Bruce Colvin looks to go quickly. He finds Struan Hutchison on the shoulder now as Melrose look to try and keep the tempo high and make some inroads here, as Rolly Brett is asked to play scrum half loose. Mallon on the shoulder, and he's brought down to earth, and the ruck sets up again. Ayr just looking to try and slow play down as Richard Ferguson tries to make amends from the earlier penalty, which James Brown got him out of trouble from the run. But Graham Dodds now just trying to make inroads on this Ayr defence. A little bit of heads up rugby there from Sam Derrick, just sees the pressure and tries to protect the ball as Bruce Colvin looks to find Hutchison. Hutchison has got options out the back. James Brown, he couldn't gather that, but it has went back there. The referee is blown up again. and saying that the players weren't 10 from the quick tap from Bruce Colvin, but good play initially from Brown. Brilliant play to get out from a congested position all the way down here, but the tempo was a lot better from Melrose in the after stages. David Colvin, a very accomplished kicker, good all-round rugby player with a right-footed kick now, and it's moved a lot in the wind there, but it's through, and that's 3 points added to that. 5 points this afternoon so far for David Colvin, but it's a platform here, and it's Bova looking to play first receiver there, and he finds Danny McCluskey just on the shoulder, looking to try and do the hard work and try and protect that ball, and work round from Cameron Rees, who works off the scrum to get round the corner, and Ayr looking to try and retain the ball for a few phases, which is something they've not been able to do too much in this game so far, but it's been launched out there from Ross McCorkindale, and loitering over on that far side was Aidan Cross, and he almost plucked it out of the air, but unable to do it on that occasion, just knocks it on. But it's now a Bova now for Ayr. He's already got a conversion this afternoon from the stand side. This is a bit easier for him, and the flags are hoisted up, and that is a penalty, all square again in this game. Again, good defensive effort there from the likes of Rory Lindsay in the second row, who's managed to get round a power of work this afternoon so far, as Richard Ferguson just stands up his man, slides down the ball, grabs the ankles and stops him going anywhere. But Graham Dodds making a nuisance of himself. I don't know how the big man squeezed in there, but he's managed to, and Lewis Mallon now finding himself in open prairie, and he gets the ball, but he's been slowed down well as Ferguson now finds himself at scrum half, and Dobie now in open play. They were maybe hoping a loose forward was in that position, but it's heads up rugby there from Fairbairn. He's got it at the ruck, he's got to try and go round Kieran Wood here, but it's he's been well defended, and it's now the opportunity for Melrose to try and set up the platform and try and strike from the 22. But great play there from Craig Fairbairn, who just saw the opportunity there. Brett finds Ferguson in the behind, and now it's Lewis Mallon who looks to try and barge his way over the defensive effort there from Ayr, but he's been met with a lot of resistance now as Sam Derrick has just charged back in defence there, and Ayr look like they're all over that ball, and a pound of the ground there from Ayr because they felt they had that there, but it's been well supported there from Melrose. A bit quicker at the breakdown here as they were against Gala a few weeks ago, and they've got themselves in a position here that the referee has given them a penalty. But great work on the floor there from Dodds, and then great work from Fairbairn, heads up, scampering from halfway up to the 22, and puts the pressure straight back on Ayr when they start getting their tails up. Ben McLean is going to look to try and hit his target here. You can see big Graham Dodds in there just marshalling some orders, and Rory Lindsay as well, as he looks to go to the front of the line out, and it's set up well from Melrose. It looks like it's got a bit of go forward here. It's splintering and turning round, but it's came back on an Ayr side, and that's good work in there from Cameron Young, who manages to get that ball as Ayr now look to try and set a platform that they can try and exit here eventually, and they look like they're going to try and play it through the hands as it is now Danny McCluskey, who's found some player over on that far side, and he's got support there from Richie Simpson, but he's not needed on this occasion. It's went loose, and Richie Simpson kicks downfield. It does give Melrose an opportunity to try and reset themselves and communicate the wording that they want, what they want to do from this scrum. As Colvin rolls the ball, and it's at the feet of Fairbairn now, and you can see Rowley just starting to encroach a little bit, probably getting a little bit flat there, but the Melrose pack look to try and keep it tight now, and Bruce Colvin has had enough of this first half. He wants to play with the wind at his back, and he kicks it out. So not a lot in it as play gets back underway, and McCorkindale is the man to kick downfield, and it's almost a great kick if anything, because it's just stopped short, but it's returned back downfield from Hutchison, who manages to kick it quite far and get over the 10 metre line from an acute angle, so he kicks downfield to relieve the pressure. As it's now came back on the Melrose side, Ben McLean tidying up at the back of the line out. It has found Hutchison, and Brett just getting the ball through the hands over to that far side, and Colvin, and David Colvin on this occasion looking to try and get into the game and just use those magic feet that he's got to try and dance and weave his way through out of trouble. And it's Dobie now, a big ball carrier, just twisting to protect that ball and keep it back on a Melrose side, and Ayr looking to try and come out of the defensive line pretty quick, but it's came back here to Aidan Cross, who's been wrapped up there by Bova. The 5 points in the first half for Bova, but he's doing well defensively on this occasion. As Bruce Colvin now looks to just wheel the ball out with his foot. He's found Rolly Brett and Donald Crawford in acres of space, and you can see how Melrose are now set up to try and use this wind, and it's bounced up, held up there, but just not long enough for James Brown on that side. But you can see how Melrose now, I would say they've got 4 really good kickers. They've got Hutchison, they've got David Colvin, they've got Brett as well, and Donald Crawford. You can see how they're set up trying to use this wind and trying to use it intelligently with the quick kickers they have.
That's right, and they've had 2 excellent kicks thus far in the second half, and Rolly Brett's came into first receiver 3 times already in this half, so yeah, the intent is clear, I would suggest.
Try and use the wind and use it intelligently. It doesn't always work for teams that have the wind at their back. Sometimes the pressure of using that wind is too much, but David Colvin makes amends on this occasion, and using that wind he tries to find a little bit of open space here and challenge Richie Simpson again. He doesn't catch it first time but just kicks downfield, and Hutchison and having to do well to try and cover the field on this side. He does well to get over, but the ball has just bounced out into touch, and on this occasion Richie Simpson, although he did let the ball bounce, it's a good kick downfield and relieves the pressure from the Ayr line on this occasion. Cleland, who's tasked with that, with these challenging condition, again hits it long at the tail, and Ben McLean is there to try and sweep up. Ben McLean obviously comfortable playing at number 8 as well, so he's very familiar with that position at the tail of the line out. But it's Ferguson who manages to punch up, and it's good play there from Bruce Colvin. He throws the dummy, and he's in oodles and acres of space. He goes underneath the sticks, he gets the score, and it's a good try there. There was a throw on the head there. I think that was perhaps Fraser Climo behind the sticks, just launched the ball at Bruce Colvin's head. I don't know what has quite happened there, but don't take it away from the score there. The experience, the ingenuity, the innovation from Bruce Colvin at the ruck, manages to throw the dummy, go in. He's certainly still got a bit of speed in those boots, goes under the sticks for a score.
Great try by the experienced campaigner Bruce Colvin. He threw that dummy, it was the part in the Red Sea, and I think half the Ayr team are going to have to pay to get back in, to be honest. But
it's the brothers' job to add the extras and the gloss to that score, and David Colvin does just that, adds the conversion. 17 points to 10, and Melrose have started this second half really, really well. And it's now Colvin now finds Hutchison, who's got Ferguson just rampaging through, offloads off the deck as well, trying to keep this ball alive. And David Colvin now looking to try and keep the ball there. It's ricocheted off Cross, but Cross has found Colvin. Colvin's found Hutchison. He's put boot to ball, and he's kicked downfield off the cuff rugby, but it's worked well there for Melrose.
As these experienced campaigners again are really starting to dictate play from Melrose, and they hit their targets here. Is again McGowan looking to kick downfield. It didn't really work too well last time, but it's Colvin underneath it on this occasion. It spins the ball to Crawford. Crawford's got a little bit of space, but he's looking to try and stand up Bova and McCluskey in the centres, but there's no avenue to be had there for Crawford on this occasion, but shifted the target there for McLean. McLean wraps round well from Dobie, back to Dobie. A little interplay there, and a good play from Ethan Deacon as well, who manages to support well. Good play from the front row, and Hutchison now finds Crawford. Crawford good, under a bit of pressure, but managed to get the ball through the hands. Cross has got a 2-on-1 here, and now it's Sam Derrick. Sam Derrick isolated there, but the referee is going to bring that back for a forward pass, and a good opportunity. And Melrose, we've said it before, they've got their tails up, they've got confidence, but the set piece isn't going well for them. But in open play, they're looking pretty good. In open play, they look really dangerous, and no more so than the front row on that occasion. The old 1-2 between Jack Dobie and Ben McLean on a couple of occasions in that move, and then lovely hands by Richard Ferguson later in the piece. They look comfortable on the ball at the moment, these Melrose forwards, and they're looking to try and set up them all as the Melrose players try and recycle themselves at the back, but it's been recycled well there by McGowan, who just finds a player in open field. And they're looking to try and keep the pace quite quick, but he's just run down an avenue there. But the captain doing well there, Cameron Rees, making a few hard yards there and just pumping the legs. And out to the open side now, Robbie McLaren, who is now tasked with doing just the same job as his captain just did before. And the winger now working hard off the wing, Zach Howard, retrieving the ball off McCorkindale, who's just trying to use the ball as a magic wand to try and unlock this Melrose defence, but to no avail on this occasion as Melrose do the dirty work on the floor. They get the penalty, and a few rounds of applause beside me. I'm sure there's a few more underneath me in the stands, but they're very happy with that call from the referee. And Hutchison now will get the chance to try and kick downfield. It looks like he's got enough Weetabix behind that anyway, and it goes out, and an opportunity to throw into the line out. And again, they've been doing some good work trying to move this Ayr
forward pack, but it's Mallon again, not for the first time, just wrapping round well at the tail and sweeping up, and Rolly Brett trying to just make some inroads there, but he's met with a stern shoulder from Bova, and it is going to be a penalty to Melrose. And although it's challenging conditions here, Robin, you would imagine that Richard Ferguson will be sizing this up and fancying a pop at the sticks for David Colvin.
Indeed, the shrill of the whistle had not even ended, and Richard Ferguson was signalling to the bench for the tee to come on. He knew exactly what he wanted from this situation, and that is an attempt at 3 points.
The right-footed kicker, and he's got a good connection with it, and he's got good accuracy as well, and he almost hits his brother's trade van at the far end as well, where he was parked. Ayr will be looking to try and put some pressure on Melrose here and force themselves on this Melrose pack and try and drive them back and force the error. We've seen Selkirk do it last week on Borders Rugby TV when they played Aberdeen Grammar, done exactly that, but Ayr are pushing that ball over the line. The referee has got his hands in the air, and it's just a show of grunt and force there as Melrose get marched over the line, and that is a big show and a big sign of strength there from Ayr to get that score.
It was indeed. They shoved Melrose right off the ball. There'd been a sign that at the previous scrum that it was going to happen.
20 points to 15 at the Greenyards in the Tennent's National 1 with the kick here from Bova, and it is successful. So a good day with the boot for all the kickers here this afternoon. And Richard Ferguson just asking Jack Dobie to come across and have a little conversation so that they're singing off the same hymn sheet here. And Lindsay runs tight to the line out close here as there's a lot of movement there from Melrose, and Colvin just getting the ball plucked off from the top there, but Fairbairn just girdling at the ball. He was running very hard there, knocks the ball forward and tries to take it in, but that's an error under no pressure. He was almost just in front of that ball, maybe just running a bit too hard, just never got himself deep enough there from off the line out. Definitely Bova is kicking downfield, and he's found some good territory there. He's certainly he's like a Swiss Army rugby player. He can do a bit of everything. He can distribute, he can kick to touch, he can tackle, and he's had a good game this afternoon. He set up the opening try for Kieran Wood, and all the other points apart from the forwards try has came from the boot of Bova this afternoon. But Ayr doing well from the line out, setting up the maul here. It's been met with some good Melrose resistance, and it's now in the open field of play, and it's a great line from McCluskey, and he's almost in, but the referee's going to bring that back for a forward pass, and it looked like just that. Richie Simpson just drifting the ball forward. McCluskey, he's been quite quiet as well, but introducing himself to the game on this occasion, just running in front of that ball, and the ball's rushed forward. 32 or 33 minutes old in the second half, so not long left. A tender 3-point advantage that Melrose have, 20 points to 17, but this is the way to do it for Melrose. It's Sam Derrick who has a lung-busting run from the scrum, and the support gets there quickly, and Richard Ferguson looking to try and stay tight to his support as well. There is Lindsay and Noble are there in support. Fairbairn just protecting that ball and lunging over, and it's Caleb Ray and Cree hoping to try and make a nuisance of themselves, but it's punted downfield, and that is a great kick. Just a wrong foot in Kieran Wood, who was just had eyes firmly fixed on the ball as it was dropping out of this dark sky above Melrose, but it just dropped right in front of him. He thought it was perhaps going to drop out the field of play, but it bounces on the turf out of the field of play, and there's going to be a throw into the line out here for Ayr, but it's a good kick, and it alleviates the pressure momentarily here for Melrose. Ayr now just trying to keep it tight and trying to get a platform here, but there's a big bit of space there for the scrum half to try and break from, and he's made good roads here, and he passes infield to Bova. He punts downfield. He's maybe put a bit too much on that as it's going to dribble over the dead ball line, but a great break from McGowan. And he rolls it in, and again a little bit of pressure coming from Ayr, but it's quick to get the ball out, and that is a sign of a scrum under pressure. But Melrose doing well to be inventive over on that far side as David Colvin now gets a little bit of open field to try and stretch his legs, which is something we've seen seldom of him in this game so far. Not his fault, it's maybe the characteristics of this game. It's a good puncturing run there from Ethan Deacon now, and it's Hutchison to try and find Dobie, and Dobie is gobbled up on the halfway line as well. And good play on the floor there from Ayr, and it was Ben Cree who I think who's made a bit of it's perhaps actually Scott Cleland who's made a nuisance of himself on the floor, and he gets the ball back on an Ayr side, and they get to try and kick the ball downfield, and that is a sign of support not getting there quick enough.
That's right, he just didn't get there quick. I wondered if Hutchison would have put boot the ball on that occasion, but they looked to truck it up through the forwards.
Ayr looking to try and cut out the errors, and it's a big carry there from Ben Cree. He's a big man to bring down, and it was just two bodies colliding there, and a bit of crossing in midfield, but the referee he was happy with it initially but brings it back. Does signal that there's crossing there. It's going to be a penalty, and Bruce Colvin's wanting to go quick. I think he's asking for them to kick it downfield. He's shouting and screaming at Struan Hutchinson, but I don't know, for me, you know, he's a very difficult man to disagree with. Bruce Colvin obviously airing his views, but I think that's totally right. You know, waste of time. They've got a little injury here. Play the clock, let's play the time, and let's try and play in the right areas.
That's right. Amusing stuff there from Bruce Colvin. He was not happy with that at all. He wanted to go quickly, but I think upon reflection, looking back at the video in the week, he'll be quite pleased that Struan Hutchison has overruled him on that occasion and is hopefully going to send it down the touchline into touch for a Melrose line out. A word there for Callum Love, who stood up to the big man Ben Cree in full flight and did not take a backward step.
No, he did not, and it's I think he's injured him in the act of trying to stop his attacking efforts, and you can see on the pitch the leaves just still swirling around and blowing around on this artificial surface at the Greenyards. A great facility to have. We've seen the Melrose Storm playing before this game, so it's certainly putting up with these conditions, these wet and windy conditions, but it's an accurate line out there from Ferguson, showing that he's got his arrows this afternoon as they keep it tight and try and march this maul forward. How many times have we seen this at the Greenyards? Richard Ferguson just peeking over the back of them all, trying to see what's on, and it was on there as Bruce Colvin tries to link up with Aidan Cross and just passes it infield. But they'll look to try and keep this tight, play rugby in the 22 if they want to try and see out this game. But Sam Derrick finds Dobie, and he makes some good yards, gets to ground. He's got to be released there by the tackler, and it's exactly what happens as the players filter around the ruck and players manage to recycle themselves. They're going to have to dig in and work hard for this final 5 minutes, but the forwards do manage to do just that and go round the fringes there. The referee is signalling the penalty, not releasing on the ground, and it's an opportunity here for Melrose to try and make that 3-point lead perhaps a 6-point lead, as David Colvin quickly steps up, right-footed kick, and it's successful. So it is another 3 points, 23 points to 17, and we're in the dying embers of this game. You would imagine this is the last roll of the dice here for Ayr in this occasion, so they throw into the line out. The referee just signalling that it's not formed yet, so they can telling the Melrose defence just to wait. The defensive line is a little bit fragmented there for Melrose, but McCluskey looks to try and find the gap in the Melrose defence as Ayr now come round the corner, looking to make the hard yards secure and earn the right to breach this Melrose defence. But as it stands, they're not making much inroads there, as again Melrose Ayr come round the corner, and it is McGowan distributing well, and he finds Simpson out the back. Simpson finds McCluskey, he misses out everybody and just spins it over to his winger on the touchline there. And now the Ayr forwards recycling themselves, looking to try and find some way into this game. The players keen as ever. Stuart Collier is as keen as anybody to try and enforce themselves on this game, as Simpson looks to try and just get behind the defensive line. It has come loose, and it's come to Aidan Cross. Aidan Cross has got an opportunity to pin the lugs back. He's got to go all the way. McCluskey is looking to try and cover him. Can he get there? Aidan Cross has got to keep going in the corner, diving over, and a score from an interception. What a score from Melrose, and you would imagine that's all she wrote, but he's had to go coast to coast, and what a score for Aidan Cross.
A tremendous score there, Dale. My word, talk about late drama. It looked like Ayr, there was an opportunity for Ayr, but Cross gambled and he came up with the ball, and that is game, set and match. What drama to end this game.
There'll be no sweeter try for Aidan Cross to eventually thwart the Ayr effort and allow the Millbrae men to go back up to Ayr with their tail between their legs with absolutely no points from this fixture. But it is going to be a challenging kick on this side for David Colvin to try and put a nice cherry on top there. He doesn't manage it into the wind. What a try to finish this Tennent's National 1 game on Borders Rugby TV, and that is one he'll be watching back on a few occasions. It was a tetchy game at times. It was very tight at half time, 10 points all. Both teams went down the tunnel, but you would say at full time Melrose took advantage of the win. They managed the game well, and they took their opportunities in the second half. Bruce Colvin with that great dummy score just underneath the sticks, and then Aidan Cross at the end showing that great turn of pace and showing that for 80 minutes, last minute, what you've got to do, back to the wall, you've got to keep going.
I think both teams have contributed to what has been a great game given the conditions. I think they deserve to win. They've played the conditions better in this second half, and their experienced campaigners have really stood up. It's just been a good all-round squad performance from Melrose today.
It's tight at the top of National 1, but Melrose get the win on home turf. They get the wheels back on the bus, and they win 28 points to 17 here at the Greenyards on Borders Rugby TV. So Cameron, a close game, and as you said off air, it was a game, came down to that last pass. It could have been anybody's right at the end.
Yeah, it's always close when we come down to Melrose. It's always a big fixture in our calendar. But say the bounce of the ball, it was just that last pass at the end, and your winger got a good interception. So disappointing to go back to Millbrae without the win, but we'll welcome you back down.
Graham, how was it first and foremost to be back out on the Greenyards pitch after a 5-year absence?
I really enjoyed it. Dale, to be perfectly honest, I was really apprehensive before the game how the body would hold up. You know, I've not done a hell of a lot of training, so I was worried how the old legs would cope with it. And but when I was out there running about with the boys, you know, I've been doing a lot of the coaching stuff, so I know the boys really well, and it felt at home. To be perfectly honest, in the first half, felt at home for me, and just being back out here, obviously first game on the 3G, but I actually quite enjoyed it.
How did the body hold up?
Well, the calf went just before half time. I gave it a wee tweak. I had to do a full session, obviously Thursday night team runs and stuff, and just felt like go a little bit, and strapped it up for today. But I knew it wouldn't probably last the whole game, so went just before half time, and Ethan Deacon came on and played really well in the second half.
The conditions played a huge part. We didn't possibly make the best or the most of it in the first half. With our kicking game, we put a few out in the full, so it's just learning. Like, we're a young team, and we're going to have days like this, so it's a good learning curve, but we'll move on to next week.
Big emphasis this week was actually game management. You know, you've got Bruce Colvin at 9, Stu Hutchinson at 10, quality players that have played a higher level, Super 6 guys, and obviously Fergie filling at prop today, but still leading from the front as our captain. So we talked a lot about game management. I thought those guys were excellent, and obviously Dave Colvin at the back as well as fullback. The voices through the kind of core of the team really managed the game really well today, and kicked at the right times and kicked well at the right times as well, and good calls as well from penalties. You know, when to go to the corner, when to kick at goals. I think that was the difference today. We want to kick on, 2 big Friday nights. We've got Stirling up at Bridgehawk next Friday, and then down to Pointer Park the week after, which is obviously a massive local derby again. And if we can get 2 wins out of that, we're right back in it.
Good, well done, and let's get you back to your care home.
So a return to form sees a victory for Melrose at home. Next week we're at Riverside Park for Jed Forest versus Selkirk. I hope you can join us there, but for now, cheerio.